Well. Looks like you're back for another one of them Slack Overflow shows. It's been a long week. Daddy is tired. And I got some bad news for you. We are fresh out of Slack since the last show. There's been 2,064 Slack messages. So let's do this, shall we? All right, our first question is, how do you all guarantee WCAG compliance? I'm not a professional, maybe I am, but I believe that stands for Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And this person has a client who needs a guarantee or they can't get liability insurance. Now, nobody does this, and there's a reason why. Compliance is a concept, and it's constantly moving, right? Content plays a big part in that accessibility, and if you're building a content management system, you can't decide if that person, you can't make them put the tags in there. You can't make them put alternate text in there. It's just not going to happen. And you know what? Universally, everybody said, don't do it. You can't do it. There are tools you can use. There are different things like that. But honestly, as I'm scrolling through here, what I'm seeing is GIFs. I am seeing bye. There are companies that will provide accessibility plugins. There are companies that will do overlays. There are companies that will do all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, they may not be compliant, and compliance changes all the time. And there's different compliance in Canada than in America, than in other places around the world. Insurance is catching up. This is something that people are talking about as well, and they're getting more specific. So, people are having to put addendums in. People are having to talk about how they cannot be liable. And if a company is telling you you have to be, well, then you got to go. And that's the first That's the first message that we're going to review here in the Slack Overflow Show. All right, let's move along. What's the next one? Oh, this is a good one. Somebody's asking, does anyone have a Bluetooth mouse that they really like or recommend?
I just kind of use this one. It's Windows. It's fine.
This poor person has an old one and the battery keeps crapping out. And quite frankly, they're starting to get a little cranky about it. Some people like the Apple Magic Mouse. It's what I have. And I will tell you this, I like it until it gets really sensitive. I don't know why. It's not crying and shit. It's a little too sensitive. Now, the one that people are really dying on here that love is the Logitech M720 Triathlon. Lots of people fans of that Logitech MX series, so give that a look. One person says that the Ergo 575 is their life. And I know this person. Pretty sure being a hip DJ and a great dad is your life. But we'll let you go with the mouse here. Okay, another vote for the Logitech. Overall, the Logitech M720 Triathlon. Yeah, let's go. To the next message. All right, here's a good one. Does anyone have a guideline for written client expectations in a shared Slack workspace? Now, for those of you that don't understand, we're doing a story about Slack, reading a Slack message on a show about Slack. This is Slack. Baby's got back. All right, now, here's the thing. If you have a client in Slack, they are talking directly with your employees. Legally, it brings up a lot of challenges. If an employee says they will do something, that could be considered a written agreement, a confirmation that is not gone through the layers of approvals and estimating and all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's just old pain that I thought I would surface. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, now for our next message. This one is all about expectations on response times in Slack. Now, you probably have a service level agreement with your clients, which says we will respond in this amount of time. This is what you can expect. But Slack is an always on medium, and people reply when they see stuff and it goes immediately. So you have to be really careful. If you're setting an expectation with a client that you're going to reply all the time, they're going to talk all the time. That's the way this works. Now, some people are like,
clients in Slack, no, we can't do that.
and you know what? I kind of agree with them, because if you have one client or five clients on the same team and they're in there, they're going to disrupt your team. They're going to disrupt your designers and your developers and your writers. And you know what? It takes a long time to get back in the flow. You're going to end up running late on that project. You're going to have utilization issues. You're not going to be able to charge for everything. You're going to have write-offs. It's going to be nasty. Now, you may have clients that you've really been working with for a long time. You know them really well. You know what? There are going to be exceptions. But overall, I'd be careful. And the biggest thing that came out of this message was it's up to the leadership of the company to set the tone. So let's say you have the service level agreement and it says we will reply within 24 hours, which I think is fairly normal. Well, if an owner is replying at 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, you've now got the expectation that you're going to reply anytime, day or night. Why do I keep doing that? Because we got to look out for each other and it's fun. I mean, that's just fun. Let's do it. You do it. I'll wait for you.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
That was a good one. Okay, awesome. On to our next message. All right, let's keep going on to our next message, and this one is fun. Hey folks, what's the coolest name to call retainers without calling them retainers? All right, we had some ideas. One person said subscriptions. Subscriptions is cool. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Buy a subscription. We'll be able to work with you. There'll be a set number of hours, blah, blah. But it's not a retainer. Didn't say retainer subscriptions. Okay. Creative services plan. I like it. I like it. Also membership. You know what? That might have been mine. I might have thrown that in and said, hey, what about membership? Some people are really into creative services, sustained service or continuous improvement. Okay. I see what you did there. I like it. But you know the one that really seemed to win? Managed services. That sounds legitimate. So if you don't want to call it retainer, I've heard membership, which works. I've heard subscription works, but I think managed services, that's a good one. All right, folks, now we're going to get to the last conversation for this episode of Slack Overflow. And it's all about delegation. And somebody asked, are there any great frameworks for delegation? Well, our very own Carl Sakis has written an article, and it has 15 plus delegation steps that he's identified. Now, we don't have time to go into all of them, or do we? I'm going to go as fast as I can.
Okay, number one, recognize that you can't do the task yourself or shouldn't do it. Number two, consider the components of what to delegate to someone else so you can hand the task to someone else. Number three, identify how you'll later integrate the deliverables into your own workflow if applicable. Number four, identify the skill sets required to define the roles. Number five, find and hire the person or people who can do the work. Decide whether the work should be an employee or the person should be an employee, because work can't be an employee, an individual contractor or another firm. Identify the prospective candidates who can do the work. Interview the candidates to assess their competence. Make an offer to the finalists. Negotiate rates, including hourly rates, salary, or project-based fees. Get them under contract. Now back to the numbers. Number six, decide how you'll communicate tasks to people helping. Number seven, identify who's competent to handle a particular task. Number eight, see if they're available on your timeline, budget, and other specs. Number nine, transfer knowledge to them about their goals, specs to consider, and including sharing access to relevant resources. Number 10, pre-schedule a check-in with them at an appropriate time to review the deadline, especially if there's a new relationship or a task. Number 11, do the midway check-in. Number 12,
Sounds like a dance. Do the midway check-in. Okay.
Number 12, share constructive guidance as appropriate. Number 13, get the final deliverable. Easy for me to say. Number 14, confirm QA on the deliverable. Number 15, integrate the deliverable into your workflow if needed.
Folks, that is a wrap. Now I got one more thing I want to say in this episode of Slack Overflow. A lot of you are asking for chapters. You know what? We want to do chapters in these videos, but we don't have enough subscribers. We really don't. We have to have 1,000. So over here or here or here, there's this button that lets you subscribe. I don't know how YouTube works, but hey, subscribe if you want us to get to chapters. Tell your friends to subscribe. Get your mom. I'll get my mom. She's 90. I'll get her to subscribe just so we can get you chapters. And you know what else I want to say? Thank you. The show is getting great feedback. It's fun to put together. And I just want Will, pop up, Will.
You can't keep
pop
doing
up right
this.
there.
Come on. Do
Pop
you want
up,
this to
pop
get
up.
done or not? I'm
Hey.
trying to edit.
I want to thank Will Stevens, who's been helping us put these together. Awesome, awesome human out of London, which is in the United Kingdom. And with that, I take my leave of you. Good. Sir.